Hello, friends, and welcome back to 20 Questions With. For those of you who are new here, this is my fun way of introducing you to other costumers and costubers by asking them 20 silly questions. Today, we are talking to Gwen from Gwen's Shenanigans. Welcome to my channel, Gwen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. This is exciting. You live in the Netherlands, is that true?
That is correct.
Where in the Netherlands do you live?
I live very close to Amsterdam.
Oh, fun.
So I guess that's like the main point, that if you mention Amsterdam, everybody's like, oh yeah.
I
So
don't do that because I've had a lot of Dutchies yell at me like, Amsterdam is not all that is in the Netherlands. And I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just the place I've been. So you live proximal, but not very close to Nikki and Yule.
I guess by American standards I do,
Yes.
but we Dutchies, we are very particular about traveling. And for me, like I would classify an hour's drive as being not very close, but I think in America that's considered close. Yeah.
That's shorter than my commute to work.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
yeah. So you live very close. I think your country is like 5 of your countries could stack up in my state.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
You live in near, or you're in California, that much I know.
Mhm.
In
I live near San Francisco.
oh, that's quite a different. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up near Los Angeles and I love both places actually. Like I think they're totally different, but also kind of the same and I like them.
Yeah, I spent my internship in Los Angeles, so I know a
Oh,
bit of, spent like a couple of months there.
cool. I was there last weekend and I'm going there next weekend.
Well, this was in 2001,
Oh,
so it was quite a long way, but one day, one day I'm going back. I hope
it's
so.
still the same. It's still the same.
What better public transportation? Because I know
Oh,
working on that when I was there.
no, it's not
No.
that. No,
Oh,
no.
no.
I mean,
Mm.
you guys have like actual trains and public transport and stuff. We don't have that.
When I was there, they just opened this metro line, I think it was, and you could hop on in Eagle Rock and go all the way to Pasadena. So
Hmm.
that all the time because I didn't have a car.
If you need to go from exactly that spot to exactly that spot, yes. But if you need to go anywhere outside of those 2 spots, no.
I sort of made it my business to not want to go anywhere else.
Yeah, totally. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel?
Yes, I've actually had my channel for 11 years, and
Wow.
yeah, I have terrible ADHD. So I did 2 episodes of Gwen Shenanigans 11 years ago, and then I saw something shiny,
Uh-huh.
squirrel, and yeah, that's that. So it didn't do anything with it for 10 years, and then I started seeing costume members putting out videos, and I was inspired again to start up.
Well, you
And
have a
so
lot of content on there now, so you've been
yeah, it's like 2 videos, and they're all the way down there. And I went back and made actual thumbnails for them, which they didn't have back then.
uh-huh.
Yeah, so I keep thinking maybe I should do a costumer reacts to her first video thing. See if
Oh,
that.
that's funny. Yeah. You want to talk about what kind of costuming you do?
Yeah, sure. I lean in towards the 1920s mostly. That's my favorite. But I have plans for doing more history bounding stuff. And I do have a couple of history bounding things in there. And I would love to do cosplay. And I'm actually doing my historical Disney project, which I guess is a cosplay. It's like my first cosplay, which is 1920s Megara from Hercules.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Shortly, hopefully, time permitting and kids permitting, because I'm a mom, and that's something that comes back in the videos a lot, I guess, because I've given up trying to film videos without my kids in them because they're so
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
So if I would try to film around that, I would
Mhm.
never get anything done. So I've just accepted it.
I feel that way about my cats.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah,
there. Deal with
yeah,
it.
yeah. They're part of the brand, I guess, or
Yeah.
something.
Yes, exactly. All right,
So,
are you ready to play 20 questions?
yeah,
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a jockey, as in horse racing jockey.
Wow.
Uh, I was a horse girl growing up, and I loved going fast. And I wanted to be a pilot because my grandfather was a pilot for the KLM,
Uh-huh.
Dutch Dutch we say it, flying company. That sounds a bit.
Yeah.
I used to be good at English, and then I had kids, and my brain turned to mush, and now I can't recall anything. So sometimes I will be using really weird words.
It's okay. I do that too. And I'm only speak English, so it's fine.
Okay, that's good to know. But yeah, those were mainly the two things that I wanted to be when I was tiny. And then when I got older, I wanted to be a model and an actress. And that's at some point I realized, but I can't actually act, and I am nowhere near skinny or tall enough to be a model. So I gave
Yeah,
up on that.
jockey and model are like on the opposite spectrum of size.
Exactly. So yeah, that was no, one of the less good ideas that I've had in my life. So yeah, no, I gave up on that.
What is the weirdest thing you've ever had to do for a job?
Ooh. Well, I've not actually had any weird jobs, but I guess the most peculiar job I've had is working at a living history museum.
Mm-hmm.
Because mainly because the boss was so crazy, and it was trying to be living history, but also trying to be entertaining, as
Oh.
if
Mm-hmm.
living history isn't entertaining in itself. I mean, I was with the beaker people. I was
Mm-hmm.
like a stage person, so I would wear like skins and linen, like unbleached linen tubes,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to make sure that there was always a fire going because that's very Stone Agey,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
and um, I had to make sure that if people wanted, they could roll this big rock over poles. I was in
Uh-huh.
possession of the rope, and if they wanted to do, they would have to come to me and ask for the rope, and then I would have to instruct them, and you would have to instruct them because literally I saw a dad at one point doing his darnest to try and move that rock, apparently completely oblivious of the fact that his 2-year-old was next to the rock in the direction that he was pushing it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was sort of odd because we have the dolmen in the Netherlands. So we had like a dolmen built next to the Beaker people house, and then the rock was like, "Hey, build your own dolmen. See how they did it." And well, the boss was just absolute crazy. I don't know if I can get in trouble for saying this. I don't work there anymore. I'm not going to name him by name. I'm not going to name the park by name. So I guess I'm in the clear.
They don't watch my channel, I can guarantee you.
Probably not. But anyway, the boss was pretty crazy. He was like, yeah. I mean, he actually had this system where you had to have like a key to leave the parking lot because at one point he had this um, pole installed. So you had to pay before you left because he charged for parking. But since there wasn't like a pole, you could just leave the parking lot whenever. It
Uh-huh.
was bringing in as much cash as he had hoped. So he'd installed this pole, which was a big pain in the ass for all the people who work there because he didn't seem fit to supply them with a key to, open it.
Right.
Well, what you would have to do is go to the register and then ask somebody if they, weren't too busy. Can you please let me out the parking lot? And it was like a 5-minute walk to get to the parking lot.
Uh-huh.
And I was sitting in my car and I sort of got this young boy to come with me and open the thing. And then he came and he was always on a bicycle and he came cycling up. He yanked the parking card out of the boy's hands while I was standing there, like fully ready to exit the premises. And he drove off, he cycled off again and left me standing there. And I was like, did this really happen just now? And that I can tell you that was one of the less crazy things we have done. I mean, you should speak to my colleagues because they have some really great stories.
If you were a candy bar, what candy bar would you be and why?
You would ask me that. I love candy. We have this really basic candy bar. I hesitate even to call it a candy bar. Maybe it's more like a block of chocolate bar.
Mm-hmm.
It's white chocolate with crisp rice in it, and
Mm.
it's and I think I would be that kind of candy bar. But if I could design my own candy bar and maybe put some marshmallow in there,
Mm-hmm.
that would be me, I think.
That sounds tasty. You are tasty. If you were arrested with no explanation, what would your friends and family assume you had done?
Public nudity, maybe.
Wow, no one said that yet.
Like to be original. No, I mean like sunbathing somewhere where I sort of hoped I'd be inconspicuous, and then apparently not.
Yeah.
I guess, or maybe.
No, I think you should go with that.
Yeah, okay. I'll go with that. Sunbathing in the nude.
What fictional character do you identify the most with and why?
Any character that's really confused.
Do you know Dory from
Dory-
Finding Nemo?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh my. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that because, like I said, my brain is mush. But Dory is actually, yeah, Dory all the way. I even say when I'm like I have to use a lot of pins, I sort of sing to myself, just keep pinning, just keep pinning. So yeah, Dory, that's a good one. Thank you for that.
I sing Just Keep Sewing.
Well, that's gonna live in my head too now.
Yeah. What is something that a lot of people are missing out on because they don't know about it?
Oh, fountain pens.
Oh, uh-huh. I agree.
Well, yeah, fountain
Yeah.
pens are the bomb. I mean, yeah. Why would you not want to write with a fountain pen? And they're not that expensive.
Well, I mean,
And
I don't write with a fountain pen all the time because it is like kind of a hassle to load that thing, and then it can get kind of messy.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. You
And
know,
if
we
you're
love it.
just trying to sign that birthday card before you walk out the door, you're not loading a fountain pen for that. So,
No, no, true. I must agree. I don't use fountain pens for everything, but the things that matter, I
mhm.
use pens because they push me to be a better writer in the sense that they push me to be a neater writer, to have neater handwriting. That
Mhm.
makes I feel like with ballpoint pens, you're like, and then with fountain pens, you're like, but it's a fountain pen,
Mhm.
So yeah, fountain
This is
pens.
already hard to read. I have to make it as clear as possible. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Must make myself comprehensible.
Yeah.
Must make people understand me.
Would you ever try space tourism if you had the money for it?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah. Definitely. I'd be scared as shit, but yeah. I mean, I'm scared getting on a plane. I never used to be scared getting on a plane, but somehow when you have kids, you're like, okay, when it was just me and the plane crashed, yeah, so much. I had a good life, but then
Mhm.
but they're only like 6 and 2. What if the plane crashes? And then I guess if you're in a rocket, that's would multiply 1,000-fold.
Yep.
So maybe when my kids are grown and they can stay on the ground, I don't have to take them along anymore. I'll just hop on the rocket and look at the stars and be content, I guess.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is your favorite way to waste time online?
Does Disney Emoji Blitz count?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, well, Disney Emoji Blitz. Yeah.
I did that for a while and then I couldn't handle it anymore. I was just like, it goes too fast. I don't even know what's going on. I rolled back. I play the Harry Potter version of that though.
Oh yeah, I know that one because they're always doing commercials for that
Uh-huh.
one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that one too. Yeah. No,
It's
it's
basically the same game.
yeah, it is. It is though. But you have to be careful. I mean, sometimes I had this one month where I was trying to get all the special rewards thingies. I don't know if that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just I was obsessed with that. I was like, I gotta get it this month. I'm gonna do it. And And after that, I was like, okay, no. I was scared that I was going to get obsessed with it. It's like, oh, this is not moving in a direction that I approve of. But then the next month, I was like, sort of like a built-in safety trigger thing where my brain was like, no, no,
You
this
can't
month,
you have to
I'm gonna get
stop.
it, and that's okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely Disney emoji blitz.
All right, so the next one is two parts.
Okay,
What
bring
is
it.
something that you thought would be easy until you tried it?
Parenting,
Okay. What is something that you thought would be hard until you tried it?
parenting.
Yeah.
That's a stupid answer, but no, it's. I was one of those really annoying people who always knew exactly how other people should be raising their
Uh-huh.
kids. And I hate those people now, and it
Mhm.
bothers me to no end that I was one of those people. But I don't know it. And then as for the easier part, it gets easier when they're bigger. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's a stupid answer.
No, I
But
think it's like a legit answer. Like, and I think they can both be the same thing.
yeah, it's I don't know. I guess you at one point with my first kid, I was just trying to be so hard to be the perfect mom. That's why I found it so hard. And then with the second one, when the second one comes around, you're forced to be more relaxed and be more easy, or you're
You
just
won't
gonna crack.
you won't survive.
In that sense, it does become easier. And my son is a wonderful, wonderful kid, but he cannot really entertain himself very well.
Hmm.
So that's where his sister comes in very handy,
Oh.
because quite often they will just play together now. And I'm like,
Hmm. That's
this,
great.
please. But yeah, I guess I guess that's my answer.
Cool.
Hmm.
What, in your opinion, is the most amazing animal?
Seahorses are pretty amazing,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
mainly because the dad sort of takes care of the kids. He like puts the eggs in his pouch, and then and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Ferrets are super underrated, I think.
Really.
Yeah, I had a ferret, and they have a bad name because they tend to be taken away from their mother quite at a young age, a little bit too early. And when that happens, they become really like they bite a lot,
Hmm.
and they're aggressive and not very nice. But if you have one that's stayed with its mother for a while, they're really nice and cute
Hmm.
and cozy. And yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
we're allowed to have them because they're not indigenous here, and they become a pest because they don't have natural predators or whatever.
yeah. I think, yeah, I remember reading. I think, is it not the same in Italy? We also not allowed to have ferrets.
I don't know. There's lots of places that you can't have I mean, in the United States, different states have different things that you can and can't have.
It's
Like
almost,
our friend Marty has that sugar glider. You
yeah.
cannot have that in California.
Hmm. Yeah, in that sense, I think I've always thought of the states as more of like a collection of countries, sort
Hmm.
of all the different laws, and they're so different from each other.
It's kind of like the European Union.
Yeah, yeah, I
I mean, that's
guess.
like the original test plan for that model.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I never thought of it that way, but now that you say it, I can totally see it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a politics major, so like when they explained the European Union to me, I was like, "Oh, we do that." Like you're allowed to
Wait,
have your own laws, and there's these superseding laws, and you have to pay money to these people, and you get stuff back from it, and
yeah.
so yeah, it's pretty similar.
Hmm.
Except you guys can leave, and we have zero way to leave. Like there's no how to, how like there's no Brexit for a state. You
No,
can't. There's no like our constitution doesn't allow for that.
no, no.
It
That would
doesn't.
be,
It doesn't not allow for that. It just doesn't allow for that.
yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty odd if somehow they found a way to make that happen, and the United States would suddenly break apart into all these different countries.
I mean,
Countries,
it
countries.
tried to happen, and then we had a civil war, and it was awful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So
but that's still,
hopefully that does not go down, but we'll see. What would you do if you knew you could not fail?
what wouldn't I do?
You get one thing.
One thing. Play the lottery.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, play the lottery.
Yeah.
Or fly. Jump off a building and fly.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Sure. Like, if you knew you would not hit the ground pretty hard, you might try it.
I think I'm gonna go for the lottery thing now.
Yeah, I think like I would stand at the top of the building going like, I know you said I couldn't fail, but in case you're wrong, I will die. So
Yes.
I'm gonna go for the lottery thing. Yeah.
And then with all the lottery money, I buy a hang glider.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good call. Have you ever had an imaginary friend?
Yes, actually. I am at an age where it would not be considered very appropriate to have an imaginary friend.
I mean, I always admit that I think I pretty much have an imaginary friend now because like I talk to myself and then I answer back and sometimes there's arguments. So like
Yeah, well, I'm in good company.
yeah. So tell me about yours.
Well, I actually I made comics around him, or I made him the star of like comics. And he was called Pimley, and he was a seahorse, is a seahorse.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Is
he's tiny and he can fly. He doesn't need to be in water, and he has friends too. He has a raccoon friend who's called Raccoon, who always gets into accidents, who's like always in full body casts and has like bandages everywhere, and he's like the ultimate bad luck. But he's always getting into accidents, and then there is like a tiny little hedgehog who is called Jairovsky, and those were his friends. And
wait, can you say that name again?
Jairovsky.
Okay, I heard like Shia LaBeoufsky, and I was like, "You like Shia LaBeouf then?"
Before Shia LaBeouf was even acting, this was no. But it's interesting that you heard that, because now I cannot unhear. I might gonna have to invent a new one and name him Shia LaBeoufsky.
I mean, I like hedgehogs a lot. Like they're super cute. I have this shirt that says hedgehogs, why won't they just share the hedge? And it's a hedgehog and he's just going, no.
So, I love them too. You know Billy as a hedgehog, right?
Oh, really? I did not know that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's funny. Billy in Japan?
Yeah, Billy.
Oh,
Billy Naga.
they can have so many things in Japan. Like I have another friend who lives in Japan. She has a sugar glider also. Like so many animals they're allowed to have.
Oh, maybe we should all just move to Japan, because I think where Billy lives is like, mwah.
Yeah.
I want to go there so badly.
I've been to Japan before. It is actually the only country I've been to in my entire life where I had a hard time eating because I'm allergic to fish.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
like
Shouldn't that
they're
be
like, oh no, this is fine. And then I'm like, there's no fish, and they're like, well, there's a little fish, and I'm like, no fish, and they're like, you can't eat here.
yeah.
So I ate a lot of Japanese barbecue, which I love, so that was great, but eventually that gets old. Yeah.
That's crap though, because like fish is the main feature in the Japanese kitchen. As far as I know, by the way, I'm not even gonna pretend to be knowledgeable about this, because no. This is a big thing where I would read something about something and then I'm like, oh, I'm knowledgeable. No, you're not.
I'm only
really.
knowledgeable in that I hung out there for a couple weeks and I was like, this is really difficult for me to eat. And I've been to 7 continents and not had a problem eating. So that's the one.
Aw.
Yeah. It was okay. I still had a good time and I still ate really well. It was fine. But it was the first time I've ever been told you can't eat in this restaurant. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I got told it more than once.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fish is a really big thing there.
Yeah. Okay, so your imaginary friend. How old were you when you had your imaginary friend?
Oh, when did it start? I was around 16, I think.
Okay.
And I had a best friend at school who fortunately was just as weird as me. So she was like, awesome.
Yeah.
And at one point, we went into class before the teacher was there, and the blackboard was right there. So I drew this giant head of my imaginary friend of Pimley, the seahorse. I drew it on the board, and then it was one of those boards that can sort of fold out. So I closed it, forgot all about it, and then at one point the teacher opened the board, and there was like this huge seahorse head. Like we laughed so hard.
That's funny. Is your seahorse friend still around?
I haven't thought about him for a while, but now that you have asked me, I'm sure he will return.
He's not around.
Yeah, he's sort of on a world tour somewhere, and then that's
Cool.
how I like to think about it. Like, he's not here, he's just off somewhere having adventures.
I should really name my imaginary friend. Like,
you should. It makes it more real.
When I was little, I had a ton, and I had like ones that were inside and ones that were outside, and ones that were like in the car only, and ones that lived at school, and like they did not cross paths, but some of them did. And yeah, so, and some that lived in my mom's house and some that lived at my dad's house. I had a ton of them. So it is not surprising that one of them stuck around to yell at me here.
No, out of all of the ones that you had, that was the one that stuck with you.
Yeah, this one is really obnoxious about sewing things.
Oh, right. That's why it stuck around.
Yeah. Well, you need to use a placket. I don't want to cut a placket. You need to use a placket. I don't want to cut a placket. No, but you need to use a placket. This is the argument.
You're a very, very useful friend, actually.
Yeah.
She should do better and work, put in extra work. I could use a friend like that. Can I like share him with you?
Absolutely. Although I have to admit that like there are times when I would like to punch that imaginary friend. Not a fan.
I can relate.
It's the kind of imaginary friend that goes, well, actually, to everything.
Oh, it's that one. The actually.
Yeah. What book or movie do you wish you could experience for the first time again?
Anything by Tom Moore / Cartoon Saloon.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And actually, one of them I haven't experienced yet. So because it's not on Netflix yet. Netflix turned it down. It's called Wolfwalkers.
Mm-hmm.
And this company in Kilkenny, Ireland, with this guy Tom Moore. They make like these animated movies that are just, they're so incredibly beautiful. I hesitate even to call them a movie. I would call them an experience more than a movie. They're just, no, I would say they have changed my life in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, if I could see those again for the first time and then see them in a cinema with like extra
XD sound.
Yes. See them in the cinema so that they would hit home even more.
Yeah.
See so that I would know that I have to make an effort to see this movie because it's going to be special. I have to make an effort to see it in the best possible setting so that it will have the maximum impact. That would be Song of the Sea, I guess.
It really does change it. Like, I really enjoy Studio Ghibli movies.
Yeah.
And our local theater chain has like Ghibli Fest every year where they show some of the Ghibli movies, like 6 of them go through, and they're different every year. So, and I can't make all of them, but I can go to some of them. But like when you see them, I've only ever seen them at home. So when you see them in the theater, like it does change it.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they ever come back to the theater, then I shall make an effort to go.
Yeah. You know that sometimes you can rent the theater and you can get them to get whatever movie you want.
Oh, really?
And it's not that expensive. I mean, it's not cheap, but it's not that expensive.
Oh. Do you have a birthday party coming up for my oldest?
You should look into it because it's possible. Like, I mean, they have a catalog of stuff that they can order and it might not be in that catalog, but it might. It's worth looking into.
That's a good idea. I am going to look into that. Thank you.
Yeah. It's fun. I've done it before where like we rented out a theater and during the pandemic, you could rent a theater out for $100.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was super
Oh,
cheap.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Of course, yeah. Why wouldn't they?
And I think we paid like $350 to have an entire theater, including like I think I got up to like 50 tickets.
Oh, wow.
So like per person, that's not very much, you know. And it's really, I mean, that's a lot of money to spend on a theater experience, but we picked a like popular movie that had a high price tag on it, so you could get it a lot cheaper. So
Yeah.
yeah, because we wanted to see, I think, The Big Lebowski or something, and that's like a fairly like mainstream movie, so
Yeah.
it costs more. If a movie was made of your life, what genre would it be, and who would play you?
Oh, I wish it would be fantasy, but it
Mm-hmm.
would probably be one of those um, comedies with a bumbling mom, just sort of bumbling, stumbling through life. And who would play me? Gosh, I am so out of the loop as far as movies and actors and stuff is concerned. I used to be obsessed with everything that came out, and I would be able to quote actors. I mean, I would be able to tell you which actor is playing in which movie, and I would not even have seen that movie because I was perusing through all the film magazines that came out, and I was on internet looking at movie trailers, and but not so much anymore these days.
It
So
doesn't have to be someone who's popular now, though. It can be
yeah.
anybody.
Hmm.
Who do you think embodies you? I have one that I think is you.
Oh, really? Oh, tell me.
Gina Davis.
Oh, I love her. She is from A League of Their Own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love her. Oh, that's a real compliment. Thank you.
And you remind me of her, so yeah.
Oh,
You could have it be one of those movies where like you see the person's real life and then you see what's going on in their head and it's a giant fantasy and then you like come back to real life and you see what's really going on and then you see what's in their head. Like that would be a cool movie.
yeah. Even Gimli could have like a starring role, like as in like
Yes,
Mary Poppins with the penguins and stuff. They could just animate him in there.
exactly.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Gina Davis, by the way. Um, she's like really good archer, a really good archer, really into
Oh yeah.
archery.
Mhm.
She competed at like Olympic level, I think it
Wow.
was. I love archery too, so
Wow. That's awesome. Then she can portray you accurately.
how accurately it would be a much improved thing because I'm not a very good archer at all. So I mean, I like it, but I can't hit shit. So
Well, no, not everybody needs to know that. You're amazing. Yeah.
yeah,
Tell everyone
yeah.
you're amazing. Yeah. If you could hang out with any cartoon character, who would you choose and why?
I want to say Tamatoa
Oh, yeah, okay.
because he's shiny.
Yeah.
No, but my son is obsessed with him at the moment, and so I'm hearing shiny like a million times a day. But he's so much fun. I love the actor who gave him his voice, like Jermaine Clement. He does so well. It's just it cracks me up every time. So yeah, and provided he doesn't want to eat me, I would say Tamatoa.
Okay. That's awesome. He's hysterical. I think he's very punny too. Like he makes funny jokes.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere in the world for 1 year, where would it be?
Well, I think Japan. Like
Sounds like it.
because I looked it up. I was like, where do you actually live? Because I was chatting with her and she mentioned it and I was, where is that? And Google. It's like, whoa, it's like a subtropical island and lots of Dutch influences. So I guess feel a little bit at home there. Sort of like a home away from home, and it's so beautiful. But then again, good old England is hard to resist as well.
Yes, I agree with both of those.
And where would you live?
Probably New Zealand.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, New Zealand. Damn it.
Well, because I mean, I visited there and I've been to both the North and the South Islands. Like I've driven all the way through it, which was
Yeah.
really cool. And there's like so much more stuff I want to see, but also I approve of their politics. And also it's like it's not the farthest thing away, but it's pretty close. And so it would
Mhm.
be interesting to have another like takeoff point from which to travel to different other places. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like because I live on the west coast of the United States, like there's nowhere for me to like go. I live on the edge, right? Because there is the Pacific Ocean is way big compared to the Atlantic Ocean. Like it takes me for me to get from where I live to like the closest like China or Japan is like at least 12 hours. But if you live on the east coast of the United States, you can get to Europe in like 4 or 5 hours. So it's way bigger. So I feel like I'm on the edge all the time. And I guess, I mean, New Zealand would kind of be like a different edge, but then I could easily go to Australia, and check that out, or like Singapore, or, like any of those
Yeah.
Southern Pacific island places would be fun.
I guess Japan would also be much closer.
I think it's actually about even.
Oh, okay.
Because Japan is so high and New Zealand is so low that like that distance is still pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could commit any crime and get away with it, no one would ever catch you, what would you choose and why?
Rob a bank so I'd have money.
Straight up, rob a bank.
Rob a bank?
All right.
No one gets hurt. I mean, physically.
Yep.
Ideally, no one would get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have lots of money and buy an island somewhere.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, I've managed a bank. Most banks don't actually have that much money in them.
Oh crap.
They don't have enough money to like warrant like they don't have buy an island money. Like I worked at the bank, the bank during the Y2K thing, and we had to have like 5 times the amount of cash that we normally had on hand because they were scared that people would come try to take all their money out.
All right. Yeah.
And I had to count out $2 million. So we had $2 million, but $2 million is not that much money.
No.
And so if that's 5 times more than we normally had, we don't normally have very much money. Like we have a few $100,000, but that's not like buy an island money.
I guess I'd have to time travel, like back to the 1920s or something. For some reason, I associate bank robberies with the 1920s.
Yeah, that's true. So do I.
At that point, they would still have had plenty of cash. So,
like comparatively,
time travel, I would rob a bank.
All right. If you could have a personal assistant, what would you have them do?
Taxes.
Oh, that's a good one.
Anything that's really long text, because I get overwhelmed by really long text. So I would just have them read it and then do the TLDR.
Yeah.
And sort of translate it to me into something that I could fathom, process, understand. Yeah. Take the kid, pick up the kids from school, or the kid actually. One school-going kid, the other one's still at home with me. So yeah, pick up the kid from school, cut out patterns.
Oh yeah.
And
you do cutting.
I'm tempted. I'm thinking of all the sewing things I would have them do, and then I've just realized that I would actually let them do everything.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of defeats the purpose. So most of those kind of things that keep me from sewing and groceries. Yeah, it's just all those menial tasks that really slow you down, keep you from what you really want to do.
I would have them edit.
Oh yeah.
I hate editing. It's such a time sink. Like today I was like, I'm gonna edit and then I'm gonna do 5 other things. And then I was like, no, I'm really not, because I'm gonna spend my entire day editing, because I always forget like, choosing music takes forever. And then you have to export it, and then you have to type up all the stuff, and then oh my god, there's a thumbnail. Okay.
Relate. Yeah. Oh, those things. And the like the video, the caption, the subtitles. Definitely those things. But the editing, I actually enjoy. As if once I have edited everything down into manageable chunks and I can start playing around with stuff, that's when it really becomes fun for me. And
I don't play around, because mine are vlogs. Mine are just like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I love to play around and sort of insert little things. I mean, in a sense, there's nothing quite so exciting than if I have a really boring video, forced to start thinking creatively and recording funny bits and stuff to liven it up a little bit. I love that. I love the sense that you have of like accomplishment when you're at first you're like, oh, this is so boring. No one's ever gonna watch this for longer than 5 seconds. And then at the end, you've sort of managed to make it into something that's well, mildly amusing at least.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't ever get that joy. I'm like, okay, it's better, but I still wasted my entire day on that.
Oh,
I hate this. I
yeah.
really hate this.
Oh,
I do it because I like having a YouTube channel and it's part of having a YouTube channel. And when you have a hobby, you don't have to love every part of it, right?
no, definitely. Yeah.
Have you ever had a supernatural event, seen a ghost, anything like that?
No, my sister has had some weird things happen in the house because we used to live in an old stable with a history.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, she was like, I'm certain I am home alone, but I just heard the toilet flush. And that would have freaked me out so much that I would have run from the house screaming, I guess. But
I'd have been
other than,
like, we're checking into a hotel.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're living right now. But well, I've had this weird experience where I thought I was leaving my body. Does that count? Like
Yes.
an out of body experience, but it never really went further than the beginning stages of like, whoa. And then because of your like, what the hell is happening? You're like
Oh.
right back where you started, and you're like, damn it,
Mm-hmm.
that's so awesome. Or when I had like I've had a couple of times where I was dreaming and then I realized that I was dreaming, and because I realized I was dreaming, I got this adrenaline rush, which woke me up.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's as far as supernatural experiences go.
I almost always know I'm dreaming in my dreams, and I always go, this is a weird dream. And then my dream changes, and I'm like, no, I was enjoying it. Like,
Uh, it was a good kind of
yeah. I was just like, this is weird. It's nice that it's a dream because there's no consequences here. Cool.
yeah. That's so awesome though.
Yeah.
You can lucid dreaming every night. I mean, I've actually read a book on lucid dreaming to try and cultivate it.
Mm-hmm.
Managed it so far, so I'm pretty envious of you right now.
I just like I use the have you seen Inception?
Yeah.
So he says at one point, how did you get to this location? And she's like, oh, I'm in a dream. And I do that in my dream too. I'm like, how did I get here? And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, right. You've trained yourself sort of to ask that question?
I guess. Like I've always done it. Like, but even before that movie came out, like I've always been like, wait a minute. I know that like frequently I will dream about people I know. Like I'll dream about my husband or some guy I used to date or like my friend or whatever, but they don't
Yeah.
look like them. And I'm like, why don't you
So,
look like you? You know,
something
stuff like that.
yeah.
And then I go, oh, okay. And then I rock on with my dream because like I'm like, oh, this is great because there are zero consequences to anything that happens here. I can't like I've only been able to do the thing where you can like control it a little bit, like you can change what's in your hand or what's around the corner or something. Like I can't really do that, but I do realize it's a dream, and then I'm just like, oh, okay, I can stop worrying about what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they say it's a good tool as well to get into your subconscious and have like a conversation with your subconscious. So some people use it to actually get therapy.
Oh,
And in the book that I read, there was people saying like, "Oh, I got so much more done in dreams than I ever got out of therapy. Years and years of therapy, and it was just in a couple of dreams I was, you know."
so I
So
read this book series called The Harry Dresden Files, and in it, if he gets knocked out, his
yeah,
subconscious self comes and talks to him, and he can see himself like as you know how like you have a mental picture of yourself and then you look in the mirror and you're like, that's different. Um, it
mhm.
looks like that, like the guy he thinks he is, and it talks to him and it does that basically. It
Oh,
provides therapy.
provides insights and
Yeah.
yeah.
You are a pirate mistress. What is the name of your ship?
I feel like it should be sewing related, like or maybe something like mundane as the seahorse.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Seahorse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mine is very famously called the Sassy Lass.
Oh, that's great. Sassy
Because
lass.
I am a sassy lass.
The seam ripper.
Yeah, that's a good one. Someone picked the bobbin because like you're bobbing in the water, and I'm like, that's cute.
That is cute. Yes, the bobbin.
All right. Are you ready for the super controversial bonus question?
Is this the hot dog question?
It is. Is a
Bring
hot
it.
dog a sandwich, and why?
Technically, it is because it's food in between bread, which constitutes a hot dog, but I cannot, in good conscience, call it a sandwich.
Okay.
I mean, I say, bring me a sandwich. I do not expect to get a hot dog.
But it's not really a question about what you expect or what you would want. It's a taxonomy question. Like, are humans mammals? Like, if you said, give me a mammal, you wouldn't necessarily expect a human to show up. It could be anything, right? So, like,
No, well, yeah. Then I guess my first answer, technically, yeah, technically
on
it
my
would.
first European, yes.
Oh wow.
Europeans are always like, now. And I'm like, wow,
That
Europe really hates on the hot dog. Founder of the hot dog.
I love hot dogs. I love hot dogs. My son was obsessed. He's like obsessed with different things. And a couple of months ago, he was obsessed with Sonic, and Sonic is obsessed with chili dogs. So I actually had to go and make him a chili dog because Sonic always
Those are really good
for some reason. I didn't make it correctly, I am assuming, because I wasn't so much a fan of it. But once I get to America again at some point, hopefully in the future, I am getting a chili dog.
Okay, so go to a hot dog chain to get a chili dog, and if you can, there's a really like fast food place called Wiener Schnitzel, and they have a good chili dog. But I would advise you to get the chili cheese dog because that's the best one.
Better, yeah.
So what did you do that you think was wrong about it?
I think I used the wrong mix because in Holland there's you have, well, I say in Holland, it's probably a global thing, but you have tin cans with like chili mix.
Mm-hmm.
Wrong one. And I can't for the life of me figure out how to make, well, no, that's stupid. I can, but I don't know. Something's holding me back. I guess it's also because the obsession has waned.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not really the need for it anymore. And my first experience with it was meh. So I'm not motivated to do it a second time.
And now you have an emotional block from chili dogs.
I guess, but I want to work through it. Maybe I'll make it.
Add cheese. That's like the killer. Cheddar. Put some cheddar on that. That's the way to go.
We actually have cheddar in the fridge right now.
I mean, I just like a cheese dog whenever possible.
Yeah.
Although, man, there are so many ways to eat a hot dog.
Yeah, that's a very American thing, I guess, because we know one thing. It's like hot dog in a bun with mustard and ketchup. That's basically it. Some really adventurous vendors will have sauerkraut or pickles. Actually, the one of the main reasons that I go to IKEA is because of the hot dogs at the end.
IKEA's Swedish meatballs are real good.
It's been a while since I had those.
I
used to just go to IKEA for dinner because I used to be in a band and the practice sessions was really close to IKEA. So I'd go from work to the practice sessions, but if I would go straight from work there, I would be too early and I would not have had any dinner. So I would stop at IKEA frequently and just get one of those really cheap meals and then continue on to my practice session, well fed.
I'm always like suspect when I get there because I'm a little snobby about my food, although I just admitted that I eat at Wiener Schnitzel, so clearly I'm not. But I always get there and I'm like, I don't know about this, and then I start eating them and I'm like, no, these are really good.
Yeah. I mean, the kitchen at IKEA in general is surprisingly good. And I also like to go to the little Swedish store and get like these stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
Lingonberry jam.
Yep. And the blueberry lemonade syrup.
Yeah. Their whole thing is good. All of it is good.
Thingies like grated potato and they're mashed into some sort of like cake thingy. Well, patty thingy.
Mhm.
Those are really good too.
They're like latkes. They're really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now I want that. Alrighty. Thank you for joining me today, Gwen. I will leave a list of Gwen's accounts down below so that you can go check her out and show her some love. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below about what you guys are up to, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye, guys. Thanks, Gwen.
Bye. Thank you.